What's going on, everybody? And I hope you're enjoying your Monday afternoon so far. This is NYG Jeffy T85 here, and I have some breaking news surrounding the Brooklyn Nets and their coaching staff going into this NBA offseason, as it looked like Jacque Vaughn, the head coach of the Brooklyn Nets, is going to be making some changes to his coaching staff going into this offseason, as the Brooklyn Nets have officially parted ways with assistant head coaches Igor Kokoskov, Tiago Splitter, and Brian Keefe. All three of them have departed the organization as Jacque Vaughn and the Nets look to reshape their roster going into this year. Obviously, the most notable one of them is Kokoskov, who is a former head coach of the Phoenix Suns all the way back in 2018 to 2019. And he was also has experience as a assistant coach with the Sacramento Kings from 2019 to 2020. He also has coached in Fairbanks all the way down in Turkish League from 2020 to 2021 before returning to the NBA in 2021 to this past season, as he was an assistant coach, the lead assistant coach of the Dallas Mavericks under Jason Kidd back in 2021 on July 29th. And then he was hired as an assistant coach back in July 2022 by the Brooklyn Nets under head coach Steve Nash at the time, and obviously being under Jacque Vaughn. He's been a guy that's also has experience being an assistant coach all the way from 2000 to 2018. He's been an assistant coach overall for the Los Angeles Clippers under Alvin Gentry. He's also in 2003 was a Detroit Pistons staff under head coach Larry Brown. He was obviously won a championship with that team over there. He's been on June 20th, 2008, he was named an assistant coach of the Phoenix Suns, obviously like I mentioned before. On May 29th, 2013, he was named an assistant coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers. And on February 7th, 2015, he was also named an assistant coach of the Orlando Magic until the end of the season. So he obviously has a lot of experience in the NBA. Now in terms of Brian O'Keefe, who was originally hired by the Brooklyn Nets as an assistant head coach. He was originally hired by the team back in August 3rd of 2021 as the lead assistant coach of the Brooklyn Nets. And at one point, Brian Keefe was actually one of the guys that was potentially going to be named as the new head coach once Steve Nash was fired by the Brooklyn Nets early on in the season. And O'Keefe has joined the Nets and is most recently serving as an assistant coach with Oklahoma City during the 2019 and 2020 season with his second stint with the franchise. He previously spent time as an assistant coach with the Los Angeles Lakers from 2016 to 2019 and the New York Knicks from 2014 to 2016, as well as a 7-year stay 2007 to 2014 with the Thunder as both a player, developmental coach, and his assistant coach. And he beginning with the franchise final season in Seattle, 2007 to 2008. Keefe started his NBA career as a video coordinator with the San Antonio Spurs for 2 seasons, in 2005 to 2007, and was part of the 2007 NBA championship team. And prior to working in the NBA, the Winchester, Massachusetts native was an assistant coach at Bryant University for 4 seasons from 2001 to 2005 as a graduate assistant from South Florida men's basketball team for 1 year in 2000 to 2001, and Keefe played collegiate basketball for 2 seasons, 1994 and 1996, at UC Irvine, earning all Big West second-team honors as a sophomore, and he transferred to UNLV for his final 2 years of the collegiate eligibility, where he helped lead Runner Rebels to an NCAA tournament in 1998. He obviously has a lot of experience with some of the NBA teams previously. And then, of course, Tiago Splitter, who is a former NBA player who was originally drafted back all the way in 2007 in the first round by the San Antonio Spurs at pick number 28, where he essentially played a good amount of time overall in the NBA until he retired all the way back in 2016, 2017. So he played at least about 7 years in the NBA overall, and he officially started to become a head coach as an assistant coach by the Brooklyn Nets all the way back in 2018 on April 24th under previous head coach Kenny Atkinson. And he was also he was originally part of the team, added as an on-court player developmental coach. and he was promoted eventually as the players coach in 2019 on September 23rd. And in 2021, Splitter was named an assistant head coach of the Brazilian national team. And in 2022, Splitter was the head coach of the Brazilian U23 national team at Global Jam Tournament in Toronto, Canada, where the team won the gold and the team won the gold medal. Obviously, what this means right now is Jacque Vaughn, who obviously inherited Brian Keefe, Tiago Splitter, and Igor Kokoskov, inherited these three coaches on the team overall. And according to Adrian Wojnarowski, it looks like that Jacque Vaughn wants to go out and try to bring in his own coaching staff going into this upcoming offseason. So I'm not really surprised that the Brooklyn Nets are doing a little bit of a change about, because a lot of these coaches that were on the roster, these were not Jacque Vaughn's handpicked guys. A lot of them were either coaching under Kenny Atkinson's regime, or obviously they were under Steve Nash's regime for the past year and a half. So Jacque Vaughn might just figure, I want to go out there and I want to get my guys in here. I want to bring in my coaching staff, and I want to see if I can get the most out of these players with my guys under my organization. So we'll have to wait and see what the Brooklyn Nets are going to do. But either way, the Nets have officially let go of assistant coaches Brian O'Keefe, Tiago Splitter, and Igor Kokoskov from the roster, as Jacque Vaughn, the head coach of the Brooklyn Nets, looks to reshape his coaching staff going into the NBA offseason. And we'll have to wait and see who ends up filling those roles departed by Kokoskov, Splitter, and Brian Keefe going into the offseason. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Give a sub to NYG Jeffy T85. More news, updates, and chatter surrounding the Brooklyn Nets. Turn on the bell for notifications of the next video or short dropping on the channel surrounding the Brooklyn Nets. And you guys let me know in the comment section what you think about the news of the Brooklyn Nets reshaping their coaching staff, as Brian Keefe, Tiago Splitter, and Igor Kokoskov all have departed the organization, as Jacque Vaughn looks to reshape his coaching staff going into the 2023 NBA offseason, and of course leading into the 2023-2024 NBA regular season. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great rest of your Monday. Take it easy, and let's go Brooklyn Nets. As always, it's a Nets world, and we're all just living in it.